Continuing the vectors discussion, the last class I started motion in two dimensions. Vector as a physical quantity with both magnitude and direction. You are aware of the basic facts. Types of vectors, resolution of vector, scalar multiplication of vector are the 3 points I mentioned in the last class. So any vector has different effects in different directions. The effective vector in a particular direction is called as a component. In particular, two components which are mutually perpendicular to each other are called as a, there is a name for them. What is that? Christian. They're called a rectangular components. AX and AY are called rectangular components. It doesn't mean there are only two components for a vector. Students normally answer the question as how many components are there? They'll say two. Two is not the number. Two mutually perpendicular components we can write, and this pair also is infinite. Means for the same vector A, I can write A cos theta here also. This is also A cos theta. Theta is different. It may be 60 degree, that may be 10 degree or 20 degree. And for this A cos theta, I have got a different A sin theta here. So you can see the magnitudes. This length is indicating the magnitude. The cos component is large, sin component is small. Whereas here, both are almost same. So they are two mutually perpendicular components independent of the previous two mutually perpendicular components. So rectangular components are also not two. For a particular vector at a particular direction, when you consider the components, you can say two are there. But along different directions, you can have plenty of such pairs of A cos theta and A sin theta. Why this is A cos theta? This much magnitude can also be written as AY as shown here. So that sin theta is equal to opposite by hypotenuse. That is AY divided by A. Therefore, AY can be written as A sin theta. Similarly, so this is the reason why we write AY as a sin theta. What is the cos theta? Adjacent AX divided by hypotenuse A, which means AX is equal to A cos theta. So, two rectangular components are very important part of vector analysis. And further, if you square and add these two things, AX square plus AY square, what is that equal to? AX square. Add these two after squaring. What do you get then? A sin theta square plus A cos theta square is equal to? No, it is just A square. You are adding after squaring them. A square sin square theta plus A square cos theta. A square is common for both. You can take it out. So what remains inside the bracket? Sin square theta plus cos square theta, which is equal to 1. Therefore, A square is AX square plus AY square, or A, the vector A can be written as a root of sum of squares of these rectangular components. AX square plus AY square square root is equal to A. This is called as a magnitude of vector. So for any given vector, you can write the magnitude as its rectangular components squared, added, and root taken like this. This is for two components case, or vector in one plane. You can have vector in space where we have AX, AY as well as AZ, in which case we write the vector A as AXI plus AYJ plus AZK, or the magnitude of this vector is a root of AX square plus AY square plus AZ square. I can also mention about one important thing here regarding unit vector. Now, for any given vector, you can write the unit vector as vector divided by its own magnitude. I mentioned in that earlier class, I think, right? Any vector divided by its own magnitude becomes a unit vector. So, for this vector also, if we divide by this particular value, then it is called as a unit vector in that direction. So, these are the various important things we have seen in the last class. Continuing the discussion, we can see one important thing regarding resultant or vector addition of two vectors. vector addition, vector addition or vector sum, or it is also called as resultant. Vector addition or vector sum is a process of finding the result of two or more vectors acting at a point. For example, if this tool is pulled by one force this way, another person is pulling that side, what is the result now? When it is simultaneously being pulled in two different directions, what is the consequence? Will it go in the direction of the first person or second? Somewhere in the middle it goes. So neither this is fully effective nor that. The result is a combination of both, which will act along an intermediate direction. It needn't be bisecting the angle. For the two given vectors, we needn't have the result exactly bisecting. It will be closer to larger one always. In this case, the result comes somewhat like this. You can see it is not exactly bisecting the angle. If full angle is 60, this may be something like 20 degree here. We take it as alpha. This is the full angle theta between the two vectors. Say vector P and vector Q. So already I have applied one important idea. What is that idea? To get the resultant law of parallelogram of vectors. That gives a resultant of two given vectors. It's one of the important ideas to get the result. So resultant or vector sum is a process of finding the combination or combined effect of given vectors, which may be two in number or more than two also. It can be, and it can be found by different methods. One such method is called a law of parallelogram of vectors. You can apply this law to get the resultant. How to apply this law? I have two vectors here, P and Q. For these two vectors, there is a particular line whose length gives the magnitude of P and this length gives the magnitude of Q. I have to complete the parallelogram, drawing parallel sides. And to that parallelogram, there is a diagonal. The diagonal gives the resultant both in magnitude and direction. Now, for the same two vectors, P and Q, if I have different directions like this, P is here only, okay, but Q, I make it like this, more closer to P. Whether the resultant is same now in this case, P and Q are unchanged, magnitude same, whether the resultant is same or different. Complete the parallelogram now. What do you get now? Is it the same diagonal as in the previous case? Is it more or less? It looks the same for you, but you can see clearly angle is decreased. As angle decreases, the resultant increases, because you maybe remember in the formula, root of P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. As theta decreases, cos theta increases. So result is more now. My figure, no, very clearly you can see this is actually longer than the previous one, this diagonal. Or one more case, P say I make Q like this now. Is it same now? Smaller or bigger? Complete the parallelogram. This is the parallelogram now. What about this length? Is it looking bigger than the previous one or same? Much smaller. So my PQ will be same in three cases here, but resultants are different. Why it's different? Angle between the vectors is changing here. So resultant combined effect is not only depending upon the individual vectors, it also depends upon the angle between the different vectors. So this is one method, applying the law of parallelogram of vectors and getting the diagonal of the parallelogram, which gives us the magnitude of the resultant as well as the direction of resultant. Secondly, law of triangle of vectors you can apply. What is that statement? Law of triangle of vectors or triangle law of vectors. Same example I'll take, P and Q. PQ unchanged. Same P, same Q also. Angle also same, everything same. I'm applying a different method now to get the resultant. No, every time you don't have to write, just listen first. After you listen, you can write the things. P and Q are same, in the sense the individual values are different for them, but P is the same as I took in the previous case here. Q also same, both in the magnitude as well as a direction. Angle between them also is theta only. Now I am applying a different technique. The technique is shifting. This is called tail of the vector. This is called head of the vector. Shift the tail to the head of other vector. So I have shifted like this. Shifted the vector parallel to itself. I have not changed the vector at all, because vector is the same as long as magnitude is same and direction is same. I have neither changed magnitude, length same, nor direction. Therefore, it is still the same vector. I have only shifted from one point to another parallel to itself. I have not made any change in the system now. And now you join the free head to the free tail to make the third side. So after shifting one vector parallel to itself, the third side is vacant. Fill that by a third line. And that third side gives the resultant according to law of a triangle of vectors. When the two vectors given are taken as the two sides of a triangle, the third side gives a resultant in opposite order. Means this is one particular order, anti-clockwise order I have taken, P, Q, anti-clockwise order. And here it is a clockwise order I have taken for this third vector. It comes like this. If I had arrow mark here, it is the same sense. Continuation of that would have been. But I have taken the arrow mark at the other side here. Therefore, this is regarded as a opposite sense compared to the given two vectors. Given two vectors in one sense, anti-clockwise sense. The third side which I have drawn is in a clockwise sense. So it's an opposite sense order. And the third side, which gives the result. You can see now, is it not same in the magnitude and direction? So technique of getting is different, but value you can see same, direction also same for this. Understood? So in this method, you shift one of the two vectors. See, I can shift even this one also. This one I will not change. This is fixed. This is there only. I am shifting P vector up. What about the diagonal? I mean the third side now. Once again, same it is. Here it may look like slightly different because I am not using a scale to fix the length. But almost this is same as other one. So you can shift any one of them. There is no rule like shift only P or only Q, etc. One of them you have to shift so that the tail of it comes to the head of the other, and then join the free head and free tail to get the third side in opposite sense. That gives the result. Once again, these two are now clockwise sense, whereas this is the anti-clockwise. If I had arrow mark here, would have been same. Now it's reversed. Therefore, this gives the resultant. Okay, so that is the second idea which gives us a resultant. Now, thirdly, there is one very simple method of getting the resultant. Analytical method we call, where you have one vector A given as 3i plus 2j, vector B given as say 4i minus j. Two vectors given. Vector sum, if asked for a data of this kind, simply you add the two, that becomes a resultant. 3i plus 4i is how much? 7i. And this one plus 2 minus 1 becomes a j. So that is known as the resultant. So it looks like a different thing here, but actually in this method, what diagonal represents the value. See, for this P and Q, okay, I can even call them as P and Q. These are the two given vectors. P vector, it is indicated here, Q here. The magnitude of that, root of 3 square plus 2 square, that is exactly represented by this line. Root of 4 square plus 1 square, represented by this line. I'll get the diagonal here, which gives the resultant in the law of parallelogram of vectors method. And in this method, we get the third side as the resultant. And in this method, we are just adding the respective components. and we get the resultant. But the resultant value is not different in different cases. In all three methods, now this, if you take root of 7 square plus 1 square, that is exactly this third side value. Okay, so methods look differently, but the result cannot be different. Just adding the vectors here, directly addition of the vectors gives the result in this third method. Applying this law of parallelogram of vectors, we get one very important formula which is often used for finding the resultant. What is that? That is a resultant formula, root of p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta. How do we get that? Simplify. I'll just briefly do that important simple derivation. What I will do is I have to continue this line to get this theta here. I can write OA representing P, OB representing Q, OC representing R. This is the extension, OA extended to D, to make a CD perpendicular to AD, one construction. Our law of parallelogram of vectors only to make the parallelogram. For the sake of derivation, we make a right angle triangle extending OA to D and drop CD perpendicular to OD. Now what you need is resultant. What is resultant? OC. So I'll get this OC square. What is OC square equal to? OD square plus CD square. OD square plus CD square. Correct? What is OD? OD is OA plus AD. OA plus AD. What is AD in terms of Q? This AC also Q, same it is. So AD is equal to cos theta is equal to adjacent by hypotenuse. Cos theta is adjacent AD by AC. So what is then AD equal to? AC into, no sir, not like that. Cos theta in this right angle triangle is adjacent side divided by hypotenuse. What is hypotenuse? CA, which is Q also. Therefore, we can write AD as Q cos theta. This is true for any right angled triangle, that adjacent side is equal to hypotenuse times cos theta. Already I mentioned this in one of the earlier small derivation. A cos theta, A sin theta part, I mentioned that one. Similarly, what is CD equal to? Not AD, sir. CD is equal to Q sin theta it becomes. Because sin theta is CD by Q, or CD can be written as Q sin theta. Hypotenuse times sin theta. So similarly, CD is equal to Q sin theta. So that I can write this OD square as OA plus AD. What is OA? P. And what is OA plus AD then? P plus Q cos theta. P plus Q cos theta whole square. Plus what is CD? Q sin theta already written. Now expand this. P square plus Q square cos square theta plus 2PQ cos theta plus Q square sin square theta. What is this Q square sin square theta plus Q square cos square theta equal to? 1. Q square common taken out. Then 1. And that's it again. 2PQ cos theta. That is R square. Or finally, what is resultant R equal to root of P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. So this is the magnitude of the resultant of two vectors P and Q. This derivation is not important for you, but the mechanism applied here, starting from application of law of parallelogram of vectors and that resolution part, etc., could be of some use somewhere. But this final formula is very important. This is the magnitude of the resultant. Magnitude of resultant. Now resultant direction also is important. How to get the direction? Alpha. Resultant is here. What angle it has to make with one of them? Tan alpha. So regarding direction of resultant, what we have to do is alpha we have to find. Tan alpha is equal to, what is the opposite side? CD divided by OD, which is equal to Q sin theta. And what is OD?
P plus
P
Q
plus,
cos theta.
correct, Q cos theta. So Q sin theta by P plus Q cos theta gives the tan of that angle made by the resultant with the P in this case, tan alpha. And remember that alpha is taken with the P here and numerator is Q sin theta. If I take alpha with the Q, I will get P sin theta by Q plus P cos theta. P and Q will be interchanged if alpha is taken with the other sign. Now two given vectors P and Q can have different directions. Suppose both of them have same direction, P and Q. Then what is the resultant value for that? P and Q have theta 0. What is the resultant? In this formula, R is equal to root of P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos 0 is how much? Cos
One.
0 is nothing but 1. So P square plus Q square plus 2PQ. What is that? P
P
plus
plus
Q
Q whole square.
whole square it is. So root of P plus Q whole square is nothing but P plus Q itself. So resultant R is equal to just the addition of the two given vectors if they are in the same direction. It's common sense also. Suppose I said earlier, one is pulling here, other one pulling there. Instead of that, if both are pulling to same side, what about the effect? It is the maximum possible effect. Means addition of the two will be the net effect in that case. If they are exactly pulling in opposite directions, it will be the least effect. There will be some cancellation. If both are equally strong, it will be there only in that case. So the result will be least when they are in opposite directions. Means for what angle? What is the angle in that case? 180 degree, opposite direction case. So previous one, same direction, theta equal to 0 case. That is R max case. And next case, when theta is equal to 180 degree, cos 180 is how much? Minus 1. And resultant is minimum. Resultant is a minimum. What is that minimum value? Substitute in the formula and get me the answer.
P
P
minus
square plus Q square. Then minus 2pq it comes. So p square plus q square minus 2pq. That means root of
P minus Q
Rakesh,
whole square.
p minus q whole square. That becomes
P minus
right,
Q.
p minus q. So this is the minimum possible resultant. Less than this is not possible for any angle. For theta 180 degree, you will have the least possible resultant value. And thirdly, for 90 degree, what happens? 90 degree case. P and Q are exactly perpendicular to each other. Nothing special in this, but the third part becomes 0. Why it is 0? 2pq cos 90 we get, and cos 90 is 0. Therefore, simply it is root of p square plus q square. It is neither maximum nor minimum, some value, but third part is not there in that formula for resultant. Root of p square plus q square alone gives the answer. And also tan alpha you will get easily. What is tan alpha here? Q sin 90. Sin 90 means how much?
1.
1. So just it is q by p. Cos 90 is 0. Tan alpha is q by p for this particular case of 90 degree angle between the two given vectors. So this is a very important thing we have seen regarding resultant combined effect of vectors. It is not only for this chapter, later in laws of motion and work energy power and even in rotational motion and later mechanics entirely, as well as in electrostatics, you'll see magnetism, the effect of this particular analysis we have made today, resultant of electric fields due to different charges, magnetic fields due to different current carrying conductors, etc. can be calculated using this particular technique of resultant finding. However, take one simple problem on this. Two vectors two vectors, P equal to 30 and Q equal to 20. Are acting at a point with an angle of 60 degree between them. Find the resultant magnitude. Find the resultant magnitude. Tan alpha part I am not mentioning, just magnitude I want. Apply this technique. R. What is the
13,
formula?
60,
30.
136.
Okay, 13, 60, 1360. I'll check it. Okay. P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta becomes root of 30 square, 20 square, 2 into 30 into 20 into what is cos 60? Half. 2 cancels. So root of 900, 400, 600. That is a 1900. It should be around 40, sir, not 13 something. What is that? Is it not 1900 root? You can write this as 100 into 19. 10 can be taken out. 10 root 19 also can leave as far as competitive papers are concerned, because you can't use a calculator. So you may have options like 10 root 19, 10 root 14, 10 root 10, etc. different numbers. You can choose the answer. So 10 root 19, approximately it comes to be 43 something, I think, because 45 square comes close to 2000, 45 square. This is slightly less than that. So maybe 44, close to that you'll get, I think, or 43 you may get. So approximately you can take it as 43. This can be the option in the papers. Alpha not asked here because only magnitude is mentioned. Alpha not asked, so we are not doing that in this case. Next one. Is it clear? Two vectors, P and Q acting at a point, P and Q acting at a point have maximum resultant as a 40 and minimum resultant as a 10. Maximum as 40 and minimum as 10. Find P and Q. Find P and Q. What are the values and how to find that? For maximum resultant, what is the formula we have? P plus Q. Here. It's never more than P plus Q. So P plus Q is available. What is that equal to? 40. Similarly, what is that minimum resultant formula? P minus Q. That is equal to 10. So we know that P plus Q is equal to 40 and P minus Q is equal to 10. Now how to get P and Q? You have to eliminate one of them, one of the two unknowns. How to eliminate? Add the two equations. Then plus Q minus Q cancels. What do we get? 2P in the left side. And in the right side, what do we get? 50. Or P must be equal to how much? 2p is equal to 50 is 25. So 25 is one of the values, and therefore other one should be how much? $15, because total is 40, one is 25, other one should be 40 minus 25, that is exactly 15. Next one, two vectors of magnitudes 40 and 30 are acting at a point with an angle of 120 degree between them. You can take P as 40, Q as 30, theta 120. Find the magnitude of resultant. Find the magnitude of resultant and direction, both magnitude of resultant and direction. Apply the same formula. What is the cos 20 value? 120? Cos 120.
Minus 3 root 3 by 2.
No. Cos 120 is minus half.
Minus
Sin
half.
120, right. Sin 120 is root 3 by 2. Cos 120 is no. Cos of the rule is 180 minus 60 it is. 180 minus 60 is 120, no. And 180 minus theta is actually minus cos theta, or minus half is the value for that. Sin 120 of course is root 3 by 2. Sin 120 is once again sin of 180 minus 60. It is sin 60 itself, root 3 by 2, or 0.866 you can take. But cos 120 is minus half. Now again substitute in the formula, r equal to root of p square. What is p square? How much? 1600 plus 900. Then what next? Plus or minus here? Cos 120 is minus half. Therefore, minus 1200 becomes 40 and 30. This is minus half here. This is actually 1300 root it becomes. Correct. 10 root 13 I think is the answer. That is the magnitude of the resultant. Next we have to find out direction also. Direction here, this is Q, this is P, and alpha maybe somewhere here. Tan alpha is equal to Q sin theta divided by P plus Q cos theta, becomes our Q is 30 here. So 30 into sin 120 divided by 40 plus 30 into cos 120 it is, which is a 30 into root 3 by 2 divided by 40 plus 30 into minus half. Finally, 15 root 3 in the numerator, and the denominator, this is a 15 subtraction 25, or 5 3 is a 5 5 is a So almost 3 by 5, 0.6 into root 3 is 1.732, becomes almost 103 4 place. So almost 45 degree you'll get as the answer. 1.039 if you search that in the tan table, or nearly 1 it is. So 45 degree becomes the answer for alpha. So approximately this is tan alpha 1 case. So alpha approximately 45 degree becomes the answer for direction aspect. Here I have cut it to make it 15. 40 minus 15 I wrote as 25 here. Numerator 30 by 2 is 15, so 15 root 3. 5 3s are 5 5s are 3 by 5 is 0.6. So 0.6 into 1.732. Finally it became 1.04 almost, or 45 degree becomes the answer for alpha value. Is it clear? Next one, forces of 50 Newton and 40 Newton, 50 Newton and 40 Newton act on a body along east and north directions. East and north directions respectively. Find the resultant. Find the resultant. Now what is the angle between the two?
90, sir.
90 degree. East and north. If you take top as north, down south, right will be east, left will be west. So between east and north, the angle becomes clearly 90 degree. And you can find the resultant directly as root of p square plus q square. You can shift your chair slightly to right side, Ruchi, no? Slightly. What is the answer you get now? R is equal to root of 50 square plus 40 square becomes a 2500, 1600, 4100. That is a 10 root 41. Approximately that will be around 6.1 or 2 you may get. So nearly 62 may be the answer for the resultant value. No, still it can be more. Maybe 63 or 64 also possible. Then alpha you have to find here because it is not specifically asked as magnitude alone. What is tan alpha given by? Simply 40 into sin 90 divided by 50 plus sin 40 into cos 90. That is exactly 40 by 50 only, or 0.8. So if alpha is asked, we can all that can be done is tan inverse of 0.8, because we are not provided with the tan table to find alpha value. You can leave like this. Tan inverse of 0.8 is the best thing you can do. Next one, for another method I mentioned earlier. Vector is given this way. Find the vector addition for P equal to, say, 3i plus 5j, Q equal to 4i minus 2j. What is the vector addition or resultant? Vector addition, correct, is simply 7i plus 3j, adding the individual vectors. I can include find the vector addition of P and Q and give its magnitude. Include that also. What is the magnitude given by? Magnitude root of 7 square plus 3 square. Magnitude of the resultant is a corresponding rectangular component squared and added root taken, which is root of 49 plus 9, that is square root of 58. So today we discussed about finding the combined effect of vectors, which is called resultant, by different methods like applying the law of parallelogram of vectors, or using a formula obtained by using that law, root of p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta. Law of triangle of vectors also can be used, and we solved a few problems to get the resultant value as well as direction for some typical questions. Directly these questions may not be asked, but this principle or mechanism used in finding the resultant in these cases is of some use for slightly twisted questions in normally competitive exams. So we'll see those questions exactly with the MCQ or type ideas there in the next class on this discussion, and continuation of that tomorrow morning.